The stillness of the hour is a presence in itself, a deep, pervasive quiet that settles over the small, residential space like a fine, cool dust. This front yard is less a garden and more a gentle interruption of the outside world, a protective alcove carved out between the familiar contours of a home and the unseen activity of the street. The light, still weak and hesitant, enters the space with a palpable reverence, finding its way through the leaves and depositing small, luminous coins of warmth on the damp earth below. Everything is holding its breath, waiting for the day to fully announce itself. The shapes of the leaves and the stone are soft at the edges, blurred by the transitional quality of the morning light, which promises much but reveals little beyond a rich tapestry of green and shadow. It is a moment of pure domestic silence, the atmosphere thick with the scent of cool soil and emerging morning. The contained nature of the space allows this silence to magnify, turning the small enclosure into a private sanctuary where time seems to slow down, measured only by the almost imperceptible drift of the shadows. The home is a silent witness to this process, its walls retaining the cool of the night, offering a backdrop of simple, solid permanence to the delicate theater of the garden's awakening. This is the quiet heart of a small life, where every detail is magnified by the surrounding peace, inviting a long, unhurried observation. The air is entirely still, holding all sounds and movements at a respectful distance, ensuring that the only reality is the immediate sensation of peace and enclosure. The light defines the mood, not by its brilliance, but by its soft, retiring quality, creating pockets of shade that feel like deep, comforting breaths within the space. The small scale is integral to the atmosphere. The proximity of the walls, the closeness of the plants, all contribute to a feeling of being gently held, away from any disturbance. The enclosure of the fence provides an essential element of domestic intimacy, establishing a quiet, manageable scale that speaks of a private, curated space adjacent to the main structure of the home. Within this boundary, the light plays a complicated, layered game, dropping through the upper canopy and breaking into countless small, dancing shapes on the foliage below. This is not a grand vista, but a small, deeply felt corner, rich with the micro-textures of a contained ecosystem. The atmosphere is one of profound stillness, the kind of quiet that absorbs sound rather than reflecting it, creating a pocket of peace where the subtle interplay of light and shadow becomes the sole focus of attention. The closeness of the camera to the elements forces an appreciation for the details of the space, the curve of a single leaf, the specific way the moisture clings to the stone surfaces, the way the light catches the slight unevenness of the earth. It is a world reduced to its most elemental, peaceful components, a slow, gentle contemplation of the domestic landscape. The proximity to the home is implied by the simple, enduring nature of the wooden structure, suggesting a life lived in easy, unhurried proximity to this quiet, growing space. The tranquility here is not accidental but seems inherent to the smallness and the surrounding walls, which hold the calm within their embrace. The quality of the air itself feels different, dense with the scent of life and shadow, a cool refuge from the outside world. This corner, often overlooked, reveals itself as the essence of the garden's quiet mood. A place where growth happens in silence and light is an occasional, welcome visitor. The restrained palette of deep greens and earthy browns contributes to a feeling of grounded calm, a visual quietude that mirrors the sonic one. A tangible sense of repose permeates this small, contained courtyard, a space designed for quiet contemplation and the appreciation of simple form. The sun, having climbed higher, now bathes the scene in a consistent, steady warmth that seems to slow the perception of time itself. The composition is one of intentional stillness, the empty vessel in the center acting as a visual anchor for the surrounding calm, its shape a soft echo of the light that illuminates it. The enclosure created by the surrounding walls and the neat, low greenery creates an atmosphere of deep domesticity, a feeling of being perfectly sealed off from any external rush. The light falls across the paving stones, emphasizing their worn, familiar quality, the history of the home felt through the texture of the ground. This space is utterly silent, the quiet enhanced by the structural arrangement of the courtyard, which seems to trap the peace within its boundaries. The absence of movement or distraction invites a prolonged engagement with the static beauty of the scene, turning the focus inward to the purity of the light and the simple geometry of the garden's design. It is the essence of a quiet life, where the spaces immediately adjacent to the dwelling are treated as extensions of the home's calm interior. The warmth of the terracotta reflects the light with a gentle, non-aggressive intensity, contributing to the overall sense of mellow, unhurried peace. The entire scene is characterized by a restrained elegance, a domestic landscape that speaks volumes through its quietude and its refusal to demand attention. The stillness is absolute, lending a meditative quality to the very air. The muted light of the overcast afternoon lends a deeply contemplative mood to the small front garden, dissolving harsh contrasts and unifying the textures into a harmonious field of soft, gentle tones. The air is still and heavy with a quiet expectation, the world outside this immediate, enclosed space feeling distant and irrelevant. The focus is drawn to the simple, honest materials that define the space: the crunching quiet of the gravel path, the humble, weathered timber of the planter box, and the quiet resilience of the green life contained within. This is a domestic border, a transitional space where the structure of the home meets the quiet disorder of nature, managed into an intimate, accessible scale. The close-up perspective emphasizes the contained nature of the space, reinforcing the feeling of domestic enclosure and the personal scale of the design. The shadow creeping across the path is not a harbinger of darkness, but a gentle extension of the garden's stillness, deepening the subtle shades of green and gray. The visual narrative here is one of simple permanence, a small, reliable piece of tranquility adjacent to the home's entrance. The atmosphere is one of soft resignation, a peaceful acceptance of the day's slow, gentle progression. The lack of direct sunlight allows the subtle variations in color and texture to come forward, turning the entire scene into a study of quiet, understated grace. It feels deeply rooted in the domestic realm, a space cherished for its proximity and its unwavering calm. The side yard, by its very nature, is a space of necessary quiet, a narrow channel carved between the essential structures of a residential setting, and here that quiet is amplified by the high, enclosing wall. The light is now a defined entity, no longer diffused, but focused into a sharp line at the upper edge of the scene, leaving the pathway below in a cool, deep shadow that intensifies the feeling of sheltered stillness. The atmosphere is one of profound, hushed enclosure, the vine-covered brick serving as a textural screen that holds the peace within its boundaries. The pathway itself suggests a quiet journey, a brief, silent passage from one part of the home's periphery to another, unhurried and observant. The geometry of the brickwork provides a calming, repetitive rhythm that grounds the scene, a testament to the simple, enduring nature of the domestic architecture. The shadow acts as a calming blanket, deepening the sense of intimacy and ensuring that the light, when it appears, is an appreciated, focused presence rather than an overwhelming force. The feeling is intensely private and contained, a secret artery of the home's outdoor life, entirely dedicated to quiet growth and still air. The scene speaks not of grand design, but of the inherent beauty found in the necessary confines of a small, residential plot. The air feels cool and moist, carrying the subtle, earthy scent of the contained garden, a pervasive reminder of the quiet life held within the walls. This is where the domestic landscape draws a deep, silent breath. The light, filtered and softened by the porch's overhang, renders this small vignette in tones of gentle, muted color, emphasizing the patina of age on the stone trough. This simple, domestic object serves as a quiet anchor in the front garden, its stationary, enduring presence contrasting subtly with the quiet growth surrounding it. The atmosphere is one of peaceful, settled domesticity, the trough positioned perfectly within the protected zone of the home's immediate entrance, a silent, unassuming piece of functional ornamentation. The close-up perspective draws the eye deep into the texture of the stone, revealing the small marks of time and whether that speak to its long, quiet tenure in this spot. The planting is contained and dense, a self-sufficient world within the trough, reflecting the intimate, managed scale of the entire residential garden. The stillness is absolute, lending a sculptural quality to the scene, as if the entire moment has been paused for quiet observation. The sheltered location contributes to a feeling of security and enclosure, making this corner feel intensely private and reflective. It is a moment dedicated to the subtle beauty found in objects that have been patiently waiting, their history absorbed into their material. The light merely highlights what is already there, a deep, pervasive calm and a palpable sense of belonging to this small, quiet home. The composition emphasizes the modesty and restraint inherent in the visual narrative, focusing on the small scale and the quiet mood. In this small, enclosed junction of the side yard, the light is a limited but precious resource, touching only the upper surfaces and leaving the lower corner in a cool, damp shadow. This space, defined by the meeting of the home's material boundaries, exudes an intense feeling of domestic containment and quiet resilience. The atmosphere is hushed and intimate, the stillness of the air emphasizing the solid, enduring nature of the fence and the wall. It is a place where boundaries are clearly marked, establishing the private, protected realm of the small garden. The focus is on the textural contrast, the rough grain of the wooden fence against the fine, subtle imperfections of the rendered wall, a silent dialogue between the elements of the residential setting. The contained greenery growing in this sheltered nook speaks of quiet persistence, a natural complement to the enduring structures around it. The close view emphasizes the smallness of the scale, ensuring the scene feels deeply domestic and personally managed. The light, though indirect, is essential, serving to highlight the richness of the textures and the deep, pervasive sense of calm that settles over the space. This is a scene of quiet strength, where the limits of the space are what define its peaceful, enclosed atmosphere, transforming a simple corner into a focus of stillness and repose within the garden structure. The quietude is absolute, felt in the subtle interplay of light and shadow on the aged materials. The light, now long and horizontal as the afternoon wears on, sweeps across the low expanse of the ground cover, intensifying the texture and revealing the contained undulations of the planting. This low-slung perspective emphasizes the close proximity to the earth, giving the small front yard a feeling of grounded calm and quiet stability. The entire patch is a contained ecosystem, a simple, non-dramatic feature that nonetheless anchors the stillness of the space. The atmosphere is one of profound quietude, the horizontal movement of the light suggesting a slow, peaceful surrender to the closing day. The shadows are long and cool, providing a necessary depth and contrast to the light's warm touch, creating a balanced visual harmony. The wide shot maintains the context of the small, residential setting, ensuring the patch of green feels enclosed and intimately scaled, a personal extension of the home's quiet interior life. The visual focus is on the sheer, repetitive texture of the foliage, a quiet, breathing carpet of green that requires no loud declaration, only patient observation. The scene communicates a deep sense of settled peace, the quiet persistence of nature held within the boundaries of a domestic setting. The light dictates the mood, transforming the simple ground cover into a surface of quiet, gentle reflection, encouraging a long, unhurried gaze into the stillness of the space. The detail of the slightly ajar wrought iron gate introduces a subtle suggestion of depth and gentle mystery, offering a glimpse into the contained, quiet world of the home's adjacent courtyard garden. The light is beautifully fractured, scattering through the thick, enclosed foliage to create a soft, luminous background that contrasts sharply with the dark, stationary pattern of the gate. This visual opposition underscores the feeling of deep, domestic stillness and enclosure. The atmosphere is one of hushed invitation, the open gap in the gate suggesting a gentle entry into a world defined by silence and shade. The close-up shot focuses intensely on the texture of the metalwork, emphasizing its solid, enduring presence as a boundary marker for the private space. The small scale of the gate and the visual restriction reinforce the intimacy of the courtyard, ensuring it feels entirely personal and removed from any public view. The entire scene is characterized by a soft, shimmering quiet, the quality of the light beyond the barrier being the primary source of mood. It is a moment of pure, arrested tranquility, where the sense of being held and protected is paramount. The visual language is one of restraint and simple elegance, a quiet passage into a private realm of domestic calm, defined by the interplay of shadow and soft light. The final scene presents a complete, contemplative overview of the small front yard, seen from a perspective that underscores its intimate, protective relationship with the home. The light of the late evening is fading into a gentle, unifying twilight, the last rays casting long, pale streaks across the main pathway and the low, clustered greenery. The atmosphere is one of deep, settled serenity, the entire space transitioning into the quiet repose of the night. The high, wide perspective clearly delineates the enclosed boundaries of the garden, reinforcing the feeling of domestic containment and privacy. The scene is utterly still, a moment of final, peaceful observation before the darkness settles fully. The composition emphasizes the simple, manageable scale of the garden, its purpose clearly defined as a quiet extension of the home's interior calm. The interplay of cool shadow and the soft remnants of warm light lends a meditative quality to the space, inviting a long, unhurried appreciation of its simple, enduring beauty. This final view encapsulates the core mood of quiet domesticity, the garden at rest, holding the peace within its boundaries, a silent, essential partner to the residential structure it adjoins. The total stillness is a profound presence, ensuring the final memory of the space is one of unshakable calm.